Hey folks, this is Kevin and my friend Peter right here, and this is The Basement Games, and we're basically starting a couch series where we talk about and discuss new products, reviews, and interesting things that are going on in the world of Magic. And today was the big announcement of Masters Double Double, or Double Trouble Masters, or whatever the hell they're calling it.
Masters.
Double Masters, Jesus. This product, I'll tell you right now, brings me no joy. But before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know, if you stay to the end of the video, I'll explain how you guys can actually win this authentic, very cool collectible, extra large Shivan Hellkite printed shirt from Magic the Gathering from 10th edition core set. So absolutely free. I'll tell you how to get it at the end of the video. You can skip to the end or stay for our fun video. Alright, so Masters Double Double was just announced today, and what I wanted to do was basically go over with Peter what it is, what we expect from it, and why I don't particularly like it. And I think Peter's going to have a totally different look on it, because we're coming from it from different angles, where I'm looking at it from a shop owner and also kind of a collector, and I play as well, but obviously I look at investment opportunities, and I think Peter's more looking at it, correct me if I'm wrong, as more of a, holy shit, new fun stuff to play, right?
Yeah, like a little of both. Like, holy shit, new fun stuff to play. I would like to eventually get into Magic as an investment, but as of now, it's just all like shiny ball syndrome.
Sure. And that's where a lot of us are. So just as a reminder to those that may be watching this in the future, we are in the middle of COVID era in 2020. Today is June, or no, excuse me, May. Who knows what days it is anymore? It's like May, I don't know, 24th, something like that.
May 21st.
May 21st. That's where it is. We don't even know the days. So there's a lot going on in the economy. None of it good. There's a lot going on with just people being afraid to game and to get into public spaces anymore. And in the midst of all this comes an announcement from Wizards about Double Double Masters. So if you don't mind, I'm going to basically go over what we know about this, and then I'd like to discuss why I particularly think this is a bad play from Wizards. It involves the history of the Masters that we've seen so far. So Double Double Masters will have, and I'll read this from their own announcement, is set to have 332 cards, all of them, of course, reprints, includes randomly inserted premium versions of all cards. Each booster box of Ultimate Masters contains 24 booster packs, each with 15 randomly inserted cards. We all know this already. The set is blah, blah, blah. They're just hyping themselves. The idea is there will be 2 rares in each pack, and there will be 2 box toppers, which will have probably extended art or something like that, in each box. Here's my particular issue with this, and it helps to kind of know where the Masters started and where it ended up. Masters started in 2013. It was announced in 2012, and it came out in 2013 as Modern Masters. That was the very first print set with an MSRP of each pack $7. Roughly, the boxes were around $170 or so, and then they eventually went up to $200, and I loved it. It was great. It was fun. It was exciting. Tarmogoyf was the big catch back then, and I have a big, long history of how I finally opened a foil Tarmogoyf, which at the time was worth like $500. Like, as an example, there was a guy in a GP, he drafted a foil Tarmogoyf, and he dropped from the GP because he knew the money he'd get off the Tarmogoyf was worth more than being in the GP. That's how big a deal this was at the time. And they had 1 foil in each pack, and it was very exciting. Then we get to Masters 2015, and that's the sequel, if you will, the squeakquel, if you will. And that one was a little bit of a shit show, because that involved, basically, they tried to do something more earth-friendly, and they made them paper boxes. So as opposed to the traditional plastic wrap, which is kind of aluminum mixture that everybody knows and has been around since the beginning, they did actual paper boxes that the cards were in, and unfortunately they moved around too much and they would get dead corners, and it was unfortunate. So that product has not aged well, and a lot of people have panned it. 2017 comes along, and it was okay, so we're starting to fill this etc. of every 2 years we get a Masters reprint set. Not the worst situation, but starting to feel reminiscent for those that have been around for a very, very long time who remembered Chronicles. Now, what was Chronicles? Chronicles was the reason we have the reserve list. Two years, you had 3 full sets of Masters reprints. It was way too much, and people were fed up with it. We were like, no, you are hurting Magic. You're not allowing enough time to basically allow the market to absorb these cards. You're not growing the audience, so it's not like there's a lot of new players coming in to take up these new collections. And so when people realize, wait a minute, if I crack a pack that costs me $10 to $15 and there's no chance I open anything that's worth that much, why am I doing this? So this really started to set a fatigue. And Mark Rosewater himself had said in 2018, or maybe it was actually early 2019, we will put master sets on a hiatus. You will not see another one for the foreseeable future. Now, most of us thought that's a 3 to 5 year block, the future. The future sounds like a good long time. And then the next year, which was 2019, was Modern Horizons as a summer set. And that was like, okay, this is not a full reprint set. There's very little reprints in it at all. And it's kind of neat. Okay, that was fair, And so we thought we were going to be going on that pattern. Then we get the details about Double Double, okay? Double Trouble, if you will. So before I really go off on this, I'm going to let my friend Peter hop in. And from a newer point of view, and just from somebody who really wants to play this stuff more than collect it, how do you feel about this?
I do get your feelings on Modern Masters. And for someone who is putting a lot of money into it as a collector exclusively, I could see why this could be potentially disastrous for things you've invested in. I'm somewhat excited about it. I'm somewhat excited about it because there are cards in there that financially I would never because it's like, do I buy an entire box? Do I buy an entire box of Magic cards, or do I buy this one card?
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go for the box at the stage I am now in my collection. So it's just a way for me to get access to cards that I wouldn't have access to otherwise. That's kind of what I see it as. And maybe that's kind of why a set like this is following so close to something like Ikoria. Because Ikoria did a lot with the tie-in of Godzilla, which could potentially have brought new players to Magic. And then what would you do logically after that? You'd follow it up with a set that would catch them up card-wise, and allow them to play more competitively and actually not lose every time they play. So maybe that was the mindset. I don't know. I'm kind of excited about it.
Okay, and that's fair. And from what we've seen so far today, again, being the first day they announced this, there are 2 cards that we have seen the alt art for, and yeah, it is exciting. There is Doubling Season and Blightsteel Colossus, and both of them look awesome. Like Ikoria, what it did right, in my estimation, it was unique, it was new, they had multiple tie-ins, the Godzilla thing. I really, really like the comic art. The comic art in Ikoria, that's something I want to collect. And the rate that they put it in, where it's 1 every pack or every 3 packs or 2, they didn't make it so hard you couldn't collect it, but they didn't put 1 in every single pack where it was like, okay, these are worthless.
They also spread it across rares.
Right, I like that, because now all of a sudden your commons have a chance to have some value. So I honestly think Ikoria is a fantastic set, and this is what I want to see more of Magic doing, is innovating. Do I really know or understand Mutate? Still, no, I don't. I haven't had enough games or interactions with it. I still think there's a lot of shit going on there. But I like that they're taking risk. Magic is best when it takes risk. Hasbro, the evil overlords of Magic, Wizards, they're the ones demanding these ultimate double reprint sets, bullshit sets, if you will, because there's no real design in there. They're resting on things that they did 20 years ago that were good, and they're trying to bring that nostalgia to you guys, and they're adding new art as a little, here's something to the people. So I have a problem with that, because Wizards is not innovating anything. They're just saying, here's more shit. Now, in a void, in a vacuum, this wouldn't be an issue. If this was just a summer set by itself, and that's the end of it, and there's that's it, and then we move on to the fall set, great. But here's the problem that I see. Again, we are in the tail end of May. Next month is June. Between now and the release of Double Trouble, in August 7th, you have the following products. First of all, we still haven't gotten all the allotment of Commander. Commander is, we don't know if we're going to get more of Commander from the Ikoria 2020 Commander. We don't know if we're done with that. There's a bunch of hiccups in the supply line, COVID related. So is that done? We don't know. Then we move on to our previously on reprint sets, The mystery boosters, remember that from, a month ago? Yeah, there's a shitload more in warehouses, and we're expecting a lot of these LGSs when they open to just start flooding the market. And that reprinted a lot of stuff, and it cratered the prices of the reprints. Not necessarily a bad thing, but that set is already a massive reprint set, and the one that we thought we were going to have this year. Then we get into Jumpstart, which, according to its own website, Jumpstart will have no less than 500 reprinted cards. Did I read that right? Sorry. It's loaded with reprints, almost 500 from their website. So Jumpstart is going to be launching in July. So we have mystery boosters, we have Jumpstart, then somewhere tailed in between there is Core 2021, which always core sets. There's a few new cards, but in general is another reprint set of the standard block stuff. It's like, holy shit, reprint. And then we get to whatever the fuck double is, okay? So we get into the double thing, which is another set of reprints, and these buggers are basically saying that, by the way, not only are we going to give you this standard box of double, we're going to give you a collector's or VIP version. So we're going to have the $10 to $15 premium packs, which is what we're familiar with Masters, and then an even more premium, which will probably be 25 plus, who the fuck knows. And it's all reprinted stuff. Yeah, the art may be new and the extended border may be different, but this is an innovation. You know, adding a new touch of art onto a card that has already existed for 20 years is not new. It's not exciting. The art is entertaining, but I feel like they are continuously going to that well over and over again, asking for more money. And it's like, I already paid out how many thousands of dollars for all the reprints you've done just this year alone. We're only in 2020, and there's like 4 reprint sets. That's my bigger issue, is they're not innovating, they're reprinting. And when your company starts just resting on the shit that it did before and not much new, you're in real trouble.
My main pushback to that would be that sets like this allow and make it more viable for newer players to come in.
That's fair.
And make it less daunting for newer players. I still feel that there's so much that I don't have in my own arsenal that other people have access to, because they've been in the game longer and they have a wider breadth of cards.
Yeah. But I will say, in general, if you're playing a competitive Commander game, a lot of the cards that are going to beat you are the cards Wizards themselves cannot reprint because they're on the do not reprint list. And so, in theory, having cheaper prices is a better entry. But here's what I'm seeing on the pushback on that. They're not really trying to get more people into paper Magic because they see that as more or less a dead end, which is why they're just literally reprinting the same shit they did 20 years ago. Instead, where Wizards R&D is really putting their money into is this Hearthstone creation they call Arena, which is a money suck if I've ever seen one. At least Moto allowed you to buy and sell cards, you know, and the market played out how it could. Arena is literally, hey, we're going to give you a digital representation of stuff that you used to have tangible goods with and allow you to not make a single cent off of it. A big part of the reason I feel Magic has survived this length of time, 25 plus years, is because Magic was one of the very few key examples of things that if I put $1,000 into it 5 years from now, absolutely, there is the risk that my $1,000 is worth $30. That does happen. But there's also a better chance that you could recoup $500, $750, maybe even make money on your investment if the cards spiked. How do you get cards to spike? Not reprinting the damn things and making good cards that people want to begin with, and expanding your audience so when new people come in, they absorb some of that market. And I guess the point I'm trying to say is, like, there is definitely player base here, and I'm a player as well, but I have made this part of my lifestyle and not just a hobby, but something I profit off of. And when you remove that element of it, this becomes Pokemon. Really. This becomes like every other card game that has very small amount of player base. Magic realistically has the player base they do because it's a good game, but also because there's a profit incentive attached to it. Think of it this way. Why are you so interested in opening a doubling season? Because it's art, because it's a great card. But if a doubling season was worth $1 versus, say, $50, you would have bought it.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Definitely see both sides of the argument. I'm still excited to see the set.
Oh, I'm gonna buy it.
I'm still excited to see the set. That
begrudgingly.
That new Blightsteel Colossus is daddy.
Those look pretty sexy.
I'm really into that. Counterpoint. I think it really will come to how the community adapts to it, and then on top of that, I think Wizards itself, along with Hasbro, has to start growing up with its player base.
That's a good point.
It has to start growing up with its player base. When the player base was
teens, young
mainly
adults,
children and teens, juvenile marketing strategies worked.
Right.
Now you're dealing with adults who have more sophisticated needs and desires from what they collect.
All right, so thanks for, if you stayed into the end or if you fast forwarded to the end, I said I would let you know how you can win this shirt. This is an exclusive Magic the Gathering promotion shirt from 10th edition. It's got the Shivan Hellkite on it, and it is definitely an extra large. Basically, just leave a comment. On June 1st, I am going to check this video. I'm going to go ahead and randomly select a winner, and I will contact you directly either over Facebook or YouTube or however you contact us, and let you know that you won. So congrats to whoever that is in the future. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, the whole deal. We are debasementgames.com. There's a Patreon, there's a Facebook group. We have hosted games every night on Zoom, and we also have just reopened our actual shop here in Brooklyn for gaming in person. So check us out. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Kevin. Have a great day. And this is
Bye.
Peter.
Have a good day.
All right, bye-bye.